Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Zubair and welcome to this lecture on AWS Essentials or AWS topic. So now in this lecture, we are going to have a demo of the EC2 instance. So you know all about the EC2 instance. You do have a general idea of what EC2 instance is. So now let's do one thing. Let's spin up an EC2 instance inside the AWS Amazon cloud, public cloud, and then we can just remotely log into that. Now for this demo, what I'll do, I'll create a Windows instance so that I can RDP into that. But in the future, we will have another videos wherein we can also spin up the Linux based instances. Okay, so first thing first, you have to be here in the AWS console. So as of now, I'm in US East 1 and I have to make sure the region that I want to launch the EC2 instance, I should be there. So if I see here, and if I go to the EC2 instance here, and one thing more you can do is you can just click on the favorites, I mean the star button. If you select on this, now you have the EC2 instance service here. Then you can just press the control key and hit click the EC2 and it will open up in a new tab. So make sure this habit of opening new tabs for new services, right? So now, as you can see, I have no instances running as of now. I have some one key pair and 4 security groups. Security groups are rules, basically firewall rules, which are like you can say stateful. Okay, and then key pairs is the combination of public and private key using which you can just log into your system or I mean EC2 instance. Okay, now EC2 is a regional service, so you need to make sure wherever you want to deploy the EC2, that region is selected here. Now inside that region, you would have multiple AZs. You can do that according to your selecting your subnets after you go to that particular service, right? So I'm in North Virginia. I can go and click on the instances running. Now to spin up an instance, what you need to do is you just need to go and click on this launch instance here, right? So I can just click on launch instance. I have the, option to launch instance from a template, or you can migrate a server. So in this case, you will be launching a new instance, right? So I'll click on the launch instance. After that, you would have a couple of, it's kind of a wizard where you can enter the details and then you can spin up an EC2 instance. Now on top right, you see number 1. So that means you can spin up EC2 instance, multiple EC2 instance at a given time, right? So it can be in hundreds and even, I don't know, let's try any number, right? You can see there is no limit, right? So I can go and spin up 100 instance. Now for this demo, I will just spin up 1. And then the first thing you need to do is to name the instance. So this would be demo EC2, I can say demo EC2. And then you have to select the instance OS image, right? Or in the terminology of AWS, it is called the Amazon Machine Image, AMI. Now you can just expand this and you will get the all the options for the operating system. Yeah, you have the Amazon Linux, you have the Mac OS, you have Ubuntu, you have Windows, you have Red Hat Linux, you have SUSE Linux, you have Debian based Linux. So you can just click any one for now, and then you can go for the flavors, right? Now the ones which are tagged with free tier, they're eligible for free tier. The ones which are not, you will be charged separately for that. So I'll go for Windows. And Windows, you will go for only servers. So these are all which are what do you say, free tier eligible, right? So I can go to any one of this, and let's spin up a 2016 Windows server. Okay, I'll select this. Now, there is some description about the Microsoft Server 2016, sorry. And this is the AMI ID. If you want this for future reference, you can copy and paste it. This is the architecture. It's a 64-bit architecture. Now, after that, you have to select the instance type. Now, you know there are multiple types of instances based on your requirements and the and the way you want your instance to be performing, right? You would go for that particular instance or the type of application that you are going to use that instance for. Maybe you need not that much, right? T2 micro is like 1 CPU, 1 GB RAM. That is fine, and you can also have these other options, right? T1 micro, which is 1 vCPU and zero point 0.6 GB of memory. So you can have multiple, options of instance family. Based on that, you can have 64 vCPUs, 128 GB RAM, like that. So I'll go for the free tier eligible, which is 1 CPU, 1 GB RAM. That is enough for our um, demo purpose. Now here is this part is very important, because this is a key pair which will be attached to your instance, and this key pair should be with you to log into the instance, right? So if I see I have the zap kp, I think I have this, but I don't want to take a chance. So what I'll do is I'll create a new kp, say demo kp, and once I click the kp, then I will have the option to download it. But this is only for one time, and after that I'll not be able to download this. So you need to make sure that this key is safe and secure somewhere. Now you have two options. You have the PPK and the PEM. Now PEM is mostly used with Linux and the Mac OS, even with Windows 10 with the PowerShell. But PPK is for Windows. Below Windows 10. Even in Windows 10, you can use it with PuTTY. But let's go with PEM for now. I will show you how to connect with PPK. But for now, let's use PEM. Okay, I'll create this key pair, and then it is downloaded into my system, right? You can see demo KP1. So you have to make sure you have this in your system. Now that's said and done. I've selected demo KP as my key pair name. Now you can go to the network settings. You can leave it default, or you can edit this setting. Let's go here. So this is where you have to select the VPC. So now we have not touched the VPC, but by default you get a VPC, and that is what is selected here. And then if you go to the subnet, this is where you select the region. So for N Virginia, if you want to see how many regions you AZs you have, so this is where you select the AZs. Subnet are deployed in AZs, and by default you have all these subnets which are deployed in different AZs in the default VPC. So in the default VPC you get one subnet per AZ already configured, right? So if you go here, if you see on this, you see availability zone US East 1C. So if I go here, wait a sec, and if I take the pen, you can see this is where I'm pointing, right? Uh, Let me take a pen like this. So these are the AZs that you can select if you want to deploy that particular image here. System there, right? Okay. So these are the AZs. How many AZs you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think 6, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah. So for in Virginia, US East 1, I have 6 AZs. And inside each AZ can be multiple data centers, which is like minimum 2, and then you don't know. I mean, they don't, AWS doesn't disclose that how many DC data centers are inside an AZ, right? So, but still, I mean, that is how you can just deploy your instance in multiple AZs. Okay. Next, I don't want to select a preference, so it will just randomly select one. So I can, or either I can go for like say US East 1A. Okay, then this is where, which is very important. You should have this auto assign public IP enabled. You can disable this as well, but this is taking the settings from the VPC itself. So you will see in the future videos when we will create VPC, we can disable this from the VPC level, and the subnets inside it will not, will not have these enabled. Now, what does it do is uh, enables the option of assigning a public IP to that EC2 instance. So, whatever instance you run in that subnet will have a public IP, and it will be accessible from outside, provided you have the security group created like that. So now next is the security group. So you can create a new security group, or you can have an old existing security group attached to it. So if I see what security groups I have here, I have HTTPS security group, but for this purpose I need a security group for RDP. So let's say RDPSG like this, and this is just a description, and then you have the security code rule here mentioned. So you want to So you can have multiple rules. So this is the first rule, RDP enabled on the default port of 3389 from any source anywhere, and the source is like 0.0.0.0. That means publicly anyone can SSH to this Windows instance if they have, provided they have the key pair. Okay. Now you can have another the rule here added if you want, but for now I don't want to enable anything. I just want the RDP from outside, I mean public to the Windows instance. So that's it, and then you have advanced networking configuration, which I will not go through right now. That would be too much for now. But once we have the networking section covered, we can come back here. Now, after that, you have the configuration of the storage. So you need a storage, right? So this is where you define the root volume. Just imagine this as the C drive in your Windows, right? So this is, for example, a C drive, and you can have I mean multiple volumes here. You can add multiple volumes. So for now, I don't want to. I have only one root volume, which is like 30 GBs of space, and the type of storage, it is GP2. You have multiple, but this is SSD, so this is quite fast. You can go for like HDD, which will be slower, but it will be cheaper. Anyways, this is for demo, so I don't, I know I'm going to delete this after this demo. And then you have the advanced details, wherein you have the type of instance. You can request a spot instance. We'll talk about the spot instances. Then you have the behavior, how instance auto recovery, all those stuff we will talk about. These are advanced stuff. And finally, you have the user data. We will be using this user data in the Linux section, where we will spin up an EC2 instance, Linux-based EC2 instance, and we will run a script here, which would run on the startup only once, and that could enable multiple things on your instance. Like for example, say you want to enable the HTTPS service, okay, something like that. So we will see that, and after that everything's complete. Now you just need to click on launch settings, and your EC2 instance or Windows based server 2016 will be launched. So let's click on launch and wait for some time to for this to be initialized. So I can go back to instance, or I can click here to go to that particular instance. If I do this, it will have a filter of that instance right here, you can see, and that instance is shown here, right? Or else what I can do is I can click on the instance, and anyways I have only one instance in my um, AWS, so that would be the only thing showing. Now you have to make sure the instance state is not pending. It should be active. Now it is booting up and doing the process of initializing. So it will take some time. And then what you can do is, so it is showing as running, but I would suggest you to wait until the status checks are okay. So there are two status checks that needs to be performed: the system status check and instance status check. We will also go through what these are, but as of now you can see you have now you have to go here and select the EC2 instance, and you will see the description or summary of those of the details below here. Now if you go here, you see the instance ID. If you want to use, you can just click here and copy that. It will be copied to a clipboard. Then you have the public IPv4 address here. From this is the IP which you can connect from outside, which is accessible from the public internet, but provided you have the security group enabled, and you have the rules in the security group that basically grants permission to those services, right? Then you have the private IPv4. This will not change. This will be provided by the Amazon based on the subnet that you are launching your EC2 instance into. And then this is the state. This is the public IPv4 DNS. So if you click here, you can also reach this instance with this or with this. This is the host name. Usually the host name will have the the private IP and then the name of the service. Okay, then this is private IP DNS. Then we have the A record. Then you have the type of instance. You are not using elastic IP. We have not attached any static IP with this instance. We can do that. We will see that in the future videos. This is an auto assigned IP address. Then this is the VPC ID, where this instance was deployed. This is the subnet ID. Then you have the instance details. It is a platform of Windows, AMI ID, monitoring you have disabled as of now, and all those other stuff. Right, then you can see the key pair here. If you're not sure what key pair you used to when we were deploying, you can come here and check, and then you can search for that particular key pair, right? And all the other details. Then you can go to security. Here is where you can find the security group. You can find the security group and the rules in it. So you have inbound rules, you have outbound rules. For outbound means your EC2 instance can reach to the internet, right? How? So that would always be like anything, because you want your EC. Now, if you want to block that, you can block it from the outbound rules, but generally it is like this only. Then you have the inbound rules where you actually put the specific traffic, allow the traffic, specific traffic. Like in our case, we have only allowed the 3389, which is the RDP, right? Then you have the networking. You can again, this is like the details as well, but when you come to the networking tab, it's only related to the networking section. You have the IPv4, you have the VPC ID, subnet ID, all those stuff here, right? Then this is the ENI, which is the network interface, elastic network interface. You have we will talk about this later. Then you have the storage, what kind of storage you have attached. As of now, I have only one root volume, which is like 30 GB of size. This is EBS volume, and the attachment time when it was created and all those stuff is here, right? And then you have the status checks. I told you we should wait until the status checks are um, this one. Yeah. So this is now um, green. I mean, that means both the checks have been passed. Then you have the monitoring, which is basically done by the cloud watch. So after some time, we will have some data here, the input output usage and all those stuff. And then you have the tags. You can tag this. So we have tagged as the demo EC2. You can have a, I mean, in production, you can have a more, what do you say? Um, usable tag, for example, prod, dev, or something like that, right? Which you can relate to. Okay, so now how to connect to this EC2 instance? Now we have enabled RDP, so we have to connect through RDP. So the easiest thing is to do is to select this EC2 instance and hit on this connect button, right? Here, then it will give you multiple options to connect to. Like right now we have only RDP, but when you are going for Linux, you will have SSH as well. So for the Windows instance to connect, it gives you a downloadable remote desktop file. So you can just click on this, and this will be downloaded to your instance, to your host machine. And then you have to generate the password. Now, how to generate the password? This would be only generated if you have the demo KP. In my case, demo KP, right? The key pair. Okay, so that is why the key pair is very important. So you can just click on get password. Now you have to browse for that demo key. It is asking you for that the demo KP is the one. So I'll go for downloads and I'll see demo KP this and open. Now once you have this key pair here, and then you can just click on decrypt the password, and you have the password now. So now I can click on this RDP file. This would basically launch the remote desktop connection. I'll select on connect, and it will ask me for the credentials. Now I'll copy this password here and then paste it here, and then okay. Now this will land up me in the Windows instance, which I am running on the AWS cloud, right? And then after some time, the remote session is created, and then it is a bit slow because I am using a T2 micro instance type. That's why it took a bit to initialize and configure, right? So if you use a instance type which is much more bigger in size, the performance which would be more smoother. Yeah, so this is the RDP to the Windows instance inside AWS. So that's how easy it is to set up a instance, and the flexibility you get how to configure the security, the networking, everything, right? And also this is like very high available in this case. Um, so now you can use this EC2 instance to do anything. I mean, you can have your own DC designed inside AWS cloud. You can I mean, you can have your server running here. This web server. You can have your AD server running here. You can do anything, right? I mean, for those there are other services available as well, but you have now your own Windows Server instance inside AWS, which will be running 24 past 7, and you don't need to worry about the maintenance, right? You don't need to be worried about the cooling, the power, and everything, the security, everything. So cool. Now I can from here I should be able to go to internet. So if I go here and type cmd and run a command prompt, this is a bit laggy because I'm running this on 1 GB and 1 CPU, obviously. But still it's running because it's running on SSD. So if I go here and ping, say, internet Google address, this should be working successfully because the outbound rule allows everything to go to internet. Yeah, so that's all. Let me disconnect from here and that's done. Now I'll go to my instances and I will terminate this instance. Select and terminate. So this way I'm not being billed unnecessary. Right, after some time, this is going to be, first it will be I mean, the instance will be in the shutdown state, then it will be in the terminating state, and after like 1 2 hours, this will be cleared from the dashboard. Now that was all for the EC2 instance part. See you in the next video. Bye bye for now. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.